Hey, military and police and firefighters and Coast Guard and FBI, CIA, and the groups like NASA, you know, stick with the greats like Johnny Carson and Jay Leno and NBC at nighttime, right? Who some of those guys that went overseas to help during the times of war. And you get to tell a story about the groups of people who fucked with the wrong people's kids. So, Jay Biswick, Greg Faust, Paul Bueller, Mel Kolb, and Ron Miller. Stay with the greats like the Hollywood celebrities like Johnny Carson at night, and you get to tell a story about the people who fucked with the wrong people's kids. Point is, Jim Riley, Joe Zillig, Harry Rice, Bernard LaChance, DJ Dave, Perlita Quinlan, Steve Jones, um, Doug King, 1961 amphibious spaceman, Bitty Bat 4 Blue Boy boxes. Um, I said Bernardi, LaChance, Eva Freeman. Let's see who else. Rapist Robo Knight and Ella Reese and Jim Hall, Bill Duvall. Some of the ones that fucked with the wrong people's kids. See, DJ Dave, remember your drug dealer and all that shit, and your friends there, Red Randy and all that stuff, and Red Gordon and Red Robo Knight and all that. So what happens is, like, you know, what happens with some big drug dealers in the world or so whatnot, they don't care about their users after a while, so they just dump them off. And so, what do you want me? What do you want me to do about your cowboy and Indian group there, Joe? The hillbillies, if they use and shit, generally they're dealers that they're in love with and shit aren't gonna love them back, so they dump them off. So, if they do that to people, that little crowd or whatnot, expect it to happen to them. That's why, maybe like I said, Bernard, a friend that you talk shit about, Joe, like Brian O'Connor, the Sheik, in the Netherlands or Amsterdam, he knows about red light districts and what happens, and you guys think it's just some funny game, and he tried to help you all, but you guys like screwed him over, and he screwed me over, Bernard, and so he gets to tell a story about you guys fucking with the wrong people's kids. And then the Hiltons and the Bowmans and the Kennedys. Oh, here's the best part. Get to tell the story about what happens when Dave and your group there, Joe, Harry, and Bernard, Robo Knight and Harry, Ellery's 61 at your personal war, Bernard the Carney, fuck with the wrong people's kids. And then the BB Circus probably knows more about what happened, what you, Bernard, and Elton, and Harry, and them all did. Get to tell a big story about what happens when you fuck with the wrong people's kids. You know what happens, Bernard, when you prop up your Masonic child Dave and his father and Perlita as God? That's fucking with other people's kids. And the whole world gets to tell a story about country and western face mutilate and eye poke team and the shit that you guys do running around fucking up trillions of dollars, which is fucking with the wrong people's kids there, Bernard. Hey, get this. Banks, insurance companies, Bernard, all that stuff. They get to tell a story about the groups of you who really screw up other people's kids. With your game, Bernard, and the sicko freak fucking attitude that you got with the group of them. So, you love them that much. When you were warned by me, Kim, Bailey, all these people, my cousins, for Joe's stance about how great he is, the rapist trash, so he could just win. So they get to tell a story about the group of you, Bernard, that fuck with other people's kids. Get this. Fairmount, Whispering Fairmount, Faggot Joe, Dave, Fairmount Cemetery gets to tell the big story about what happens when a sicko freak fucks with the wrong people's kids, Bernard. When a faggot fucks dead people and shit, and so fucking screwed up, man. So have fun, Perlita, with your dictatorship, and Viva la Mexico, and they love Texas. Because Texas gets to tell you, they'll tell the story about what happens when you, Bernard, and your fucking rapist shit team fucks with the wrong people's kids. So does Florida. So does here. So does New York. So does Michigan. So does Washington, Oregon, Colorado, all that shit, Utah. All that shit mess you made up, Bernard, in the last 4 years with that freako piece of shit and his torture machine of lies. And the people who had to watch it here, guess what, Bernard, Roble Knight? These guys get to tell the story what happens when you guys fuck with the wrong people's kids. The Jews get to tell the story. The Russians, the Asians, the Germans, Bernard, even better yet sometimes, get to tell the story. Howard Stern gets to tell a story about what happens when you guys fuck with the wrong people's kids, Bernard. Because, Bernard, when you don't know what really happened time ago, and some of those people do, and the whole hoopla on why the world's a shit mess, guess what? What control did you have ever? Other than just being a spoiled rich piece of shit with some guys that ran around thinking they can fuck whatever they want. And they spread this disease. So, Bernard, guess what? You know, Peter Boyles at KHOW and, you know, Coast to Coast AM and the Tom Clancy's and those kind of guys and the Star Trek crew and the Star Wars crew and, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator, you know, Steven Seagal, you guys make fun of him and his martial arts, you know, IP Man, all that stuff, the Asians, the cool stuff that you guys made fun of. Well, those people get to tell a story, Bernard, about what your faction of joking around does and shit when they fuck with the wrong people's kids. And all these churches that you cultists used, they get to tell a real big story about what happens when you guys fuck with the wrong people's kids. But get this, it's all been Joe Zillig and that small fry runt and that fucking piece of shit that they run around and casting nightmares with Elton and shit and the Negro Clan and their faggot lies. So, if you guys don't want the story being told about you, don't fucking stalk the wrong fucking people, Bernard, and send your paid monkeys around to cover for your faggot child fucking consciousness vampire shit that he fucking makes, ruining everybody's life 3-4 times in a row. Because it's a shit mess. It's because of you, Bernard, him, Joe, and your fucked up game. So Joe, Bernard, you know what happens when you send people to war? The people that died in 9/11 and all that stuff, Bernard LaChance? When you send your military to war when they didn't need to, or your police officers and firefighters and your FBI and CIA, when you make fun of the FBI and CIA Gordon Area 138, and you guys do this fry down mutilated machine shit because you guys think it's fun, because it's always the same group of you Indian tribers or whatever. Guess what? They get to tell a real big story, Bernard. What happens when you guys fuck with the wrong people's kids, and when a man is so delusional like Bernard LaChance, who thinks he's the leader of Zion or Eden with Joe and the small fry runt, their delusional psychopath Carney story. Yeah, you want to incite World War III, Bernard, with that group of pieces of shit? Then the world gets to tell the story about what happens when a bunch of dumb fucks get together hillbilly wise and fuck with the wrong people's kids. Because you gotta make sure, Bernard, that 150 million wants to go to war for you. And if they fucking don't, you're gonna have a fucking problem, dude.